Welcome to another episode of Let's Get Social. I'm Dee Scro, and today I have two very special guests that are actual clients of mine. Have you ever been in a position where, you had no other option for mortgage financing? You were desperate at the time and you just took whatever your mortgage broker agent had offered you. Well, this happened to my clients, and is that option always a good option? Or is it something that is going to come back to haunt you, at a later date? So today I have with me Olivia DeGraff, along with her husband, Benjamin DeGraff, who is not here right now, but he will be. Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
How are you?
I am good.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. I was so excited for this podcast. Not because, what happened to you and Ben, but the fact, I've been able to see you again because both of you are two very special people to me. I don't know what's the word, you were referred to me from a mutual friend who's a real estate agent. And because I didn't know you. And when Carla, who was a realtor, messaged me and said, oh, I have a couple, they're going to reach out to you. I thought you guys were buying a house, right? So anyways, I touched base with you and I said, oh, okay, you want to refinance? So you were put in a private mortgage on a new build that you had purchased a few years back, right? So I thought this was going to be plain simple, just like everybody else's refinance, because I refinanced so many people out of mortgages and taken them out, because when you're with a private, you have to have an exit strategy at some point, right? So your mortgage was up for renewal and you were smart enough to start looking well in advance before your actual maturity date, which was great, right? Because a lot of people will come to us and we're scrambling, or they come to us, 30 days before. You actually reached out to me several months in advance. So I remember asking you for a copy of your mortgage commitment. And I remember sitting at my home office and looking at this, and my stomach just dropped. I had this pit in my stomach and I looked at it and I said, how can A, somebody sign this, B, somebody actually put you into, who was the broker that put you into this mortgage, and where was this lender? How did you even find this lender? Those were the three things that sat with me, and I was like, oh my God, these people are victims of what we call predatorial lending. You didn't even know a lot of the things that you signed, which was pretty scary, right? So take us back to that time when it all started.
Yeah,
I know it's I know it's not good.
Well, I'll preface it by saying, obviously, Dee, you are a savior, and we are so grateful that we met you, because honestly, you are what a mortgage broker should be.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah, like I said, my husband and I, we just owe so much to you. But yeah, just to recap, we purchased a new property pre-built, and at the time we, thought everything was going to be fine. When we got to the actual closing, we did not want to sell our condo, so we were in the process of getting a second mortgage and then renting out our condo. We thought everything was good, and upon this new property closing, we were informed that based on the credit bureau, there was something that was showing that would make it impossible, according to this mortgage broker, for us to get a standard mortgage through the bank.
Right.
So we were referred to this mortgage broker through a friend, and we had a couple of incidents. We started with one mortgage broker who originally was going to put us in a private, but said they couldn't use my husband. Unfortunately, with the start of the pandemic, my husband is self-employed. They said, we cannot use any of your husband's information. We cannot use any of his income. and everything was resting on my income. And then they suggested using my mother as collateral.
Right.
My mother's a widow. I said, I can't do that. That's just not going to work. And at this point, I was beginning to feel extremely panicked because we were paying occupancy fees for the first 2 months. And we thought we would have like a good year before closing, because sometimes that can happen.
Yeah.
But, within 2 months of moving in, closing date was 2 months after we'd moved in. So I was just like, we got to get a mortgage. So I contacted this other mortgage broker that was referred to us, and she basically said to me, like, your situation is dire. You are not going to be able to we can't use your husband at all. So these are the areas and what we're going to do. And we were down to the wire, I think, a week before we were closing. She said, okay, we're going to go with this mortgage broker. You're going to be able to keep your condo. Everything's perfect. And we're not going to have to use your mother as collateral at all. I mean, hindsight is 2020. I really did not understand everything that was in the document, and unbeknownst to me, but really with the mortgage broker, she was just like, sign, we got to get this off to them by, like, this was Thursday, we got to get it off to them by Friday. I sent it to my lawyer. My lawyer has been with me for years, and I didn't really take the time or even realize that I should have gone through it with my lawyer. So when my lawyer got it, he just got the documents as is, and we need to sign now because we have to close tomorrow.
Yeah.
He did seem a little alarmed, but not to the degree that he said to us, you shouldn't sign, like this is bad. The main things that were reiterated to us was, you got to make sure you find someone within a year, because this is only for a year. This is a short-term solution. At least that's what the lender said at the time.
Yeah.
Our lawyer.
Yeah. We'll get to that. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Our lawyer also said, yes, you guys need to make sure that you are, you're looking for other solutions, because this is only for the year. He did seem a little, when someone they don't really have words, but he kind of seemed like, whoa, like on his face, but nothing was said. We just signed everything and did everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's what I think most people would have done.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So that was that. We were in a highly priced, obviously, mortgage, and it wasn't even a mortgage. I'm sure as we talk more, Dee, and you have some other questions, we were paying like a crazy amount. I don't even know how we survived and managed to do it.
I don't even know how you survived and managed to do it, because you have, 2 young boys, and, you have a family. This agent, put you in a position where you even had your other property as put on as collateral. So, you certainly didn't want to miss a payment, because not only is that affecting one home, it's affecting 2, right? It was a big mortgage interest only payment a month. What eats at me is that when you're a good broker, you are able to find good lenders. Okay. We get so many private lenders that reach out to us on a daily basis. They're all hungry for business. But does that mean that they're all good private lenders? No, they're not. You have the bottom of the barrel, like the lender you had, and then you have ones that actually do look out for your clients. And those are the relationships that, us as brokers want to have with these types of lenders. You learn by your mistakes, right? When you first start the business and you reach out to a private lender, once you had that feeling, the fees are just insane. I'm not going to use this type of private investor. I'm going to keep searching until I find one that has the same ethical standards as myself. And what was presented to you, would that agent have presented to her own family? Probably not, and the bad thing about it is that we called this lender together. We were on a 3-way call, and he was quite arrogant. And what really scared me is that he's like, this agent uses him all the time.
Yeah.
And if this is the type of lending that, you're putting your clients in front of, she really needs to take a look at her book of business. And, I'm sure you're not the only person that you put into this. So even trying to get out of this mortgage, which you didn't even know on the commitment, it had said, that even though it was a 1-year term, you were not paying this out before the 1-year term because you knew that there was going to be a penalty that you would have to pay if it was paid out before the maturity date. And they played games. They played games with you. So you had it in the commitment where you had to give 30 days written notice. So I made sure, I said, listen, you got to make sure that you get that 30 days in written, get your lawyer to send it to him because you don't want to miss that, right? So you were on top of that. You were amazing through this whole entire thing. Your lawyer sent him that in 30 days that this is going to be paid out. Right. And they still played games with you and they managed to take out, because if you didn't pay it out on time, you were going to be paying 5% of the balance, which was pretty big.
Right.
And you fulfilled, your 1-year term, you gave the 30 days notice and they still wouldn't let you go.
Yeah.
And you had to gather money from your family members to gather up this 5%, which is, I wanted to cry for you. You know what I mean? Because that's money being taken out of, your family.
Right.
The food and just the amount of stress that both you and Ben had to endure. Like it was a 1-year term, but it was 1 year of hell.
Yeah.
Right. And you think when you're at the end of this, that it's going to be easy, right? I could have put you in when your application came to me. It's so easy for brokers and agents to just put people in a private. Why? Right. Because there's less documents that you have to collect. They don't look at it like regular banks do. So it's very easy for us to say, you know what? There's no other option. Let's just put you into a private, right? And charge you the fees and this and that. The amount of documents that I had to collect from you from day one, it was a lot. It was like I literally had to put my other deals on hold because this was one deal that I said, I am going to work day in and day out because there's no way in hell that these people are signing with this lender for another year. Like we got to get them the F out of here, right? So it was a long journey, but I could have just put you into a private and with a different private lender and said, you know what? I don't want to be bothered with this hassle because But I didn't because I knew that wasn't the right thing to do. You know what I mean? We put you with, a B lender, which is a bank, which is a very good bank, but you're with a bank. You're with a reputable lender. And, we were able to bring down your mortgage payments where you're actually paying something off because you did 1 year of interest only payments, and it makes you sick to think that when you first had this mortgage, it was at this amount, and then you invested all this money into it, and you still had to give them an additional 5% just to get out of it when you fulfilled your term.
Yeah.
Which is unheard of, right?
Unheard of.
And even the compliance package, like when we do mortgages for people, we have them sign the commitment, but there's also a compliance package that we also have to get the clients to sign.
Right.
When you sent me what you would sign, I said, what did you didn't even, I don't even know what you signed. I was like, who did this? A 10-year-old? There's no way that this is a reputable agent that works for a brokerage that you sign. Like honest to God, I have never in the years that I've been doing this, have I ever come across a file like this. I've heard of stories like this, but I never came across to it. And your story, your journey of, where you started to where you are now, we were able to remove that lien that they put on your other property, which was a big thing for you because you weren't planning to sell that property anyways. That was a property that you guys wanted to keep as an investment, right? And just to remove that, I know that you guys are still battling, even after us getting you out of that horrific experience, which is sad. I know that the sad part is that when we had that conversation with that lender through a 3-way call with you, Ben, and myself, I was getting so angry, and Ben's awesome. He's like, he was like, you know what? Even though he could have really like choked him over the phone, right? He kept his cool. He was calm. And this lender was trying to blame your lawyer for everything. Like,
yeah,
wouldn't even, not even blame, like where I blame the agent that put you into this. You
Right.
know, that she should have done her due diligence. And
absolutely.
like I said, we have so many private people that we have access to, and it's just our job to screen everyone.
Right.
You're screening these people to give your clients the best, like your quotes, right? It's like having a home renovation. You don't just call one person and then take that first quote, right? You call in a few other people and then you pick.
Right.
And that's the way I do business. I look at it like, you know, I'm doing a private right now for a client, and I've reached out to like 5 different investors, and I'm going to go by what is the best for my client, not
Right.
what's best for me. Because if I put you into another private, I probably could have convinced you to do that. I could have said, you know what, your application doesn't fit, not even a B lender. And that's the scary part, is that you're trusting. This is how it's so important to trust who you work with. You know what I mean? I know that's not always the case. You know, your agent that you were referred to came from somebody that you knew.
Right. Or I thought I knew.
Or you thought you knew, right? What have you learned from this whole experience?
Yeah, I definitely, want to say that. I mean, it was a disaster. And, even as you speak about it, was a disaster. And, I think what I've definitely learned from this is that, like you said, you have to trust who you're working with. And like you said, I think for me, I'm the fear of losing the property was very real, but the due diligence needed to be there because I was basically, like I said, tricked. I mean, I was essentially told, everything that you broke down to us, again, I had no idea was even in the contract. I mean, she made me believe that the condo was good. It was safe. I mean, my goodness, had we missed a payment, we weren't even under the knowledge that if we missed a payment, they pretty much had our condo blanketed. We didn't even know that. I mean, when we signed this, the thought was, okay, everything's good. I didn't even really understand the concept that we were just making payments to the interest only. I mean, so to know a whole year was wasted during COVID, knowing that, like you said, money does not come easily for anybody.
No.
And for it to just be thrown away like that is just, like you said, it's heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. We are fortunate that we actually had family that could help us, because otherwise we would still be in this situation. And
well, you maxed out everything. You guys had to max out every line of credit you had, and like, this is real. Like, this is real. You're messing with people's lives. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you could have went through like a depression over something like
Absolutely.
this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, it's
people commit suicide over things like this. Like, everything could have been gone had we not found you and had I not made the call, because I originally called her because I assumed, well, this is who we used before, but something in my gut said, you know what, why don't you try somebody else? And as we mentioned, like, Carla had helped us get the renter for our condo. And I said, you know what, Carla seems to have really good contacts. And as I said, she sent your name with bells and whistles. She said, you gotta call
her.
Dee.
Shout out to Carla Mincer. She's so awesome.
The best.
Like, she is, she's amazing. She is beautiful inside and out. And you are too,
Thanks, Dee.
I just feel like I've known you guys like forever. You know what I mean? And it's one of these files that I just keep close to my heart. And I was so happy to be a part of your journey. Obviously, I was sick along the way because I just didn't like that this was happening to good people. You guys are both hardworking people. You're a teacher full time. You know what I mean? And, you know, Ben has his own business. You know, you have these two young boys. You guys have excellent credit. And it was something like this that, you know, damaged everything. And you bought a beautiful new build, not anticipating that this was going to happen to you, right? Like, would you have ever thought that you would ever have gone through this? Like, I can't even imagine the nights, like, you know, you would have lost sleep over something like this, which shouldn't have even gone that way.
Like, absolutely.
It's stressful enough doing mortgages for people. People buying houses is already stressful, right? And it's our job to help relieve your stress of any worries that you guys may have. And and like I said, I just remember, you know, looking at this and I was just shaking my head and I'm like, how did they sign this? Like, how is this even possible? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't even charge somebody, say 3%, you know, for a broker fee, and I feel guilty. Like,
it was just, and you know, and even to know, sorry, Ben just popped in. He's just going to try and see if he can grab a chair here. We were just talking about your level of composure when talking to these lenders who told us we really only needed to be with them for a year, but did everything to ensure that we pretty much could be stuck with them. But just like you said, Dee, and again, what have we learned?
Yep.
Working with someone like you, the due diligence, the paperwork, the time and energy and effort that you spent in explaining to us how this is going to work. And, you know, even for myself, just moving forward, I mean, I felt desperate. She took advantage of that desperation. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, we're going to lose the money that we've already put in this place. We've got the condo. And she played on that desperation. And I, as you know, Ben, just jumping in, again, can't thank you enough for being professional and caring. And I mean, I don't even know what to say, right? Like, you know, it shows, and you've done that to ensure that we can have a level of comfort and not feel like we're going to throw up at the end of the night. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it felt
like. Well, I was
like.
going to throw up for you. I was like, seriously, I was literally going to throw up because, like I said before, you hear of these stories and you're like, do people actually like sign stuff like this? Like, who would even put someone in a mortgage like this? And lo and behold, it's reality, and it's happening all the time. And especially now with interest rates coming up, you're going to see a lot more people. Hi, Ben.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's a long day, but I'm good. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Sorry to join in late.
That's okay. You know, I was telling Olivia our 3-way call with the lender and how you had held your composure where I was ready to like jump through the phone and choke him.
I know. I think, with the lender, I think at that time, I just probably we would be talking again. And so I think I was just trying to leave things maybe on an even level, and maybe trying to appeal to the individuals like humanity, right? That they would actually do the right thing and not be the jerks that they were. And, obviously that was a little bit of wishful thinking, because obviously these guys did everything that they could to just continue to frustrate the process, right?
Yeah.
The
thing is, he said on the phone that they don't work like that. They don't want people to stay with us. They want you guys to get out of this. And that was a lie, because they did everything in their power to not have you guys. They wanted you guys to renew with them.
In closing, right? Like, there was our last monthly payment that they tried to take out early, which caused like a big kerfuffle at the bank.
Yeah.
And then we actually had to make like a double payment and then send the final payment to our lawyer in trust, because, they wanted to verify that the funds were there for the last payment. And then, they still, from end of October till beginning of December ignored several levels of correspondence from our lawyer in regards to closing the matter and letting them know that, hey, we're giving you notice, we're not renewing, we're doing everything by the book more than 30 days out. And they just ignored it and then just tried to leave everything to the very end, hoping that we would be stuck with them, right? And thank God we have, friends with deep pockets, and we're able to, front us some money so that we can escape the situation. And now, obviously, Olivia's probably alluded, like, we're looking to go to litigation, and it's like a long process because everyone's using COVID as an excuse, right?
Yeah.
So,
but not everybody has family to help them. You know what I mean?
No,
that's
definitely
the scary
not.
part,
So
because it's not like they're asking for $500. They're asking for thousands and thousands of dollars.
No,
and you guys fulfilled. You guys fulfilled your term. That's right.
If it wasn't for our parents, like, we'd be screwed, and we'd just be literally like punching the wind. That's what the situation would be, because you would never get out of it, right? It's like they always just. And with inflation and the way that the rates are going up, it would have been even, like, who knows, double the amount this year, or even a quarter more than what we paid last year, right? It's like, not that your viewers want to hear this or we're this way, but like, you'd have to rob a bank in order to get out of it, right? Like, or win the lotto, or stumble into some crazy bonus, or, I don't know what would have to happen to generate that kind of money so quickly, right? In order to get out of the situation.
And that was the thing. It was literally, you guys were on a crunch. We have to have this much money by the end of tomorrow. And that was a timeline that they had given you.
We knew what it was like ahead of time, which is why we gave more than 30 days notice, saying we're good, we've paid on time, and we're not renewing. And then they just ignored all of the correspondence from the lawyer. And so then, like, we had to come up with the money, like, literally, like, days out, like less than a week out. And it was a very, like, tough conversation, I had to have with my dad, and helping him to explain, like, what's happening, right? And they were just like, well, thank God, in a position to have extra funds and are retired and physically are okay. They're not in a home or nothing where their finances and resources are being drained for some other type of service to take care of them. And they're like, kind of like, whatever it is, like, we'll help out. Just let us know sort of, how you're going to, go about trying to get the money back and repay us.
Yeah.
But obviously it was really unnerving because you're angry. And like, I wanted to obviously roll down there with, like, like a gang of guys and do something, right? Because it's just like,
me and Olivia will go
wrong.
We'll punch them out.
Like, just be like, oh yeah, you want us to sign right here, right?
Don't mess with us.
Let's talk about this, right? With me and my 15 buddies, right? And see, like, we're, oh, sorry, I meant the other guys, and just ripping up the contract, right? Like, I mean, it's so unnerving. Even the lawyers, like, it's just basically manipulation and coercion. But unfortunately, like, it's almost like take the blows now and then recoup and then kind of like fight back later. But it's like, basically it's just pay to play. So then at that point, it's like, we just had to have the money. I'm running around to the bank. I'm running around to a lawyer. I'm running around this. And it's like, just these guys are just complete assholes. You know what I mean? Just putting it bluntly, like, the way that they do business is completely coercive, manipulative. They're just preying on people. They're taking advantage. There's no other reason. And to be honest with you, it's like unethical because they don't even follow their own terms. They're the ones that set the terms for the contract, which we fulfilled, and then they still broke even their own terms. So these are people that, like, you could never trust. And to be honest, if I ever saw this guy, I'd probably never even shake his hand because just like a wormy, slimy guy. Like, I mean,
he was. I
don't know how you sleep at night. Obviously he does, but you never want to pray anything bad on people or whatever. But obviously the universe, we get what we attract. There's like the law of reciprocity. There's a law of attraction. And I just can't see that this guy is happy at the end of the day doing this kind of crap to people, like, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm sure the guy's looking over his shoulder all the time, which is why it's impossible to get a hold of these guys. Like, are they registered or not? It's like a holding company under another holding company under another holding company. It's just disastrous. I think the big thing that I wanted to kind of communicate my time is that, you know, a lot of viewers could be watching, and a lot of people, if we were to post this on social media, people would be going nuts in the comments saying, oh yeah, you got to read all the fine print, and you know, you got to review everything and this, that, and the third. And it's kind of like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I could definitely take some things on the chin that in some areas we could have done maybe more due diligence. We could have talked things through better. We could have given ourselves more time to not be in sort of a desperate to the crunch situation.
Yeah.
But I think at a baseline level, when someone is in a business and offering you a service, there's a certain point that you have to like yield and relent to the fact that, you know what, this person knows more than me.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm soliciting their services, because they are the expert.
Exactly.
And because they're the expert, I'm kind of putting my trust in them that they're going to do the job that they said that they're going to do. And when I think about my own profession and my line of work, I'm a DJ professional. I run a DJ and entertainment company. I do well over 150 events a year prior to COVID. I am responsible for providing service at what I think is a top 5 life moment for someone, which is a wedding. Most Canadians are spending average over 30 grand on their wedding. That's what statistically it is.
Yeah.
And so I think when someone is reaching out to me for DJ entertainment, they're going to be probably pretty shocked if I show up to their wedding with like an iPod player and a computer speaker, and I say, I'm your DJ for tonight. Let's rock the dance floor. People would be like, what happened? Like, how did we get here? Oh, well, you said to DJ your wedding, but you never said how many people. I thought it was just going to be you and your husband.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it would just be mind blowing to someone to think that, wow, like this is like how you run your business. Like, how do you, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think that everyone has like a certain expectation that when you're soliciting a professional, that you're going to be in some level of good hands. And I think on one hand, I'm angry that we got taken advantage of. And I think that the next time we solicit services from other people, we can ask more questions. Maybe we can look at like more reviews. But I think like if I went through life now moving forward, like never trusting anything over anything that we're doing, like, you know, I don't know. I would probably cause like a super high level of anxiety. I don't think we'd be able to function in society as we know it, right? Because we're all trying to trust one another and rely on one another to get the things that we need to get done, right? So,
well, this would turn you off. If this was your first time working with a mortgage broker, you probably would never want to work with one again, right? And that's what pisses me off, is that there are a lot of good mortgage brokers out there, and there's a lot of shitty ones, right? Mm-hmm. So, and it's unfortunate that your experience with one wasn't great, you know, and it didn't do of service to you the way it should have been.
But you, Dee, have changed that and changed the way in which our experience was. And thank goodness we were able to, because again, you've set the bar. This is what a mortgage broker should be, right? I now know, like you said, and like Ben was talking about his business, like there's good and bad in all. And it's just unfortunate that, yes, we did get taken advantage of, and hopefully our experience, and you also sent me an article, someone else had gone through it. Hopefully our experience will be one in which, again, the main lesson would be, if it doesn't feel right and you're under pressure, that the diligence needs to be there. And like I said, I'm grateful that we've had this experience with you, because this is what a mortgage broker should be. And it can be good because you've been able to do that, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means so much. I think
the main thing is even, so yeah, you doing these podcasts are great too, because I feel like people like that need to be exposed as well, right?
No, for sure.
We can't say names, but they need to be exposed.
Yeah, no, 100%, because this is what we're trying to do, right? What the main question is, well, what makes you different than other brokers? This is what makes us different.
Yeah, it's like not not running a douchebag service and taking advantage of people and profiting off of them and preying on them.
Exactly.
Right?
You got to work hard. You got to work hard. Like I said, how many documents did I have to ask from you guys? I was literally like so many things, but I knew that, had you just did the stuff that I asked for, even though it was a pain in your ass, I know Ben was busy, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we got to get this. But there was a reason why we had to get those things in line so we can get you out of this private, because like I said, it's just so easy. I just say, you know what, forget this. This is too much work. Let's just put him in another private and not deal with it. And some other broker can do it next year. But that's not what we do.
Obviously at that point, like, it was sort of still like pretty hot COVID wise. So I know we never really met up or physically met you. So I was kind of like wondering, like, oh, I wonder what D looks like. And I'm like just getting a vibe from like your demeanor and stuff like that, right? And I was like, I think this lady's like a real ass kicker, right? Because she's really like sort of like, as they say, like a dog on a bone, and like really going after things and really advocating and like really pushing the companies and the entities to like make sure things go through. And you really went out of your way to advocate for us, which we definitely appreciate, because I know that the situation, it was like, we were like kind of stuck in the mud. And I think like that burst of energy needed to like get us out of like the, from going off the rails and getting us back on. Like it required like a lot of heavy lifting and blasting to like get us into a better position. And we're definitely eternally grateful for your advocacy and your knowledge and your business acumen, like you said, to like have the foresight in a lot of ways to do all those forms, and even in some cases do some things extra, just not wanting to have any stone unturned to have it throw off the process. Because obviously I'm sure optic wise from the lender's perspective is almost probably like, we're like radioactive at that point. It's like, why would you even touch this file? It's like, get away, right? And so you're like, no, like this was a flower, but something happened and something got spilled on it by accident, right? And these are like good people who have been taken advantage of, right? And so like, we really appreciate it, because now the deal that we got in is so much more favorable to us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The first deal was like nothing was going to interest.
Yeah.
So we would have just perpetually,
going to principal.
Interest, not principal, sorry. Yeah. So we would have just been paying until perpetuity and nothing ever changing.
No, it's like you're renting, right? You're just renting.
Yeah, like, and now it's kind of like the all-inclusive package, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
we got
the biggie size, the biggie size and everything. So it's like so much better. It's a good $1,500 less, at least like $1,200 less than what we were paying. And everything is like so much more manageable. And like I just think like, we're very, very grateful for you being a great professional and really knowing, your business and really being able to like just pull us out of that situation, right? And just knowing the hoops that we had to get through properly, which sadly weren't kind of presented the first time, right?
Yeah. Well, at least you're out of it. And so this is something that, there's always something good out of every bad situation, right? And you guys were strong enough to go through it. It was a shitty situation, but you ended up, victorious, So, and it's only going to get better. And I appreciate, honestly, like that you guys did trust me and that I was able to help you. And I know that, and everybody that's watching or listening to this, you're going to hear a lot of people come out of the woodwork. And that was my whole goal of having this podcast, is that I wanted people to know that these things can happen, but you can get out of it and you don't have to take mortgages like this. There are other options. And there are a lot of private lenders that are good private lenders. You know what I mean? So if that's anything, like I said, I'm very grateful. And I know that, only good things are going to come your way.
Thanks.
But thanks for being on this podcast with me. And
thank you.
you guys have become my friends for life.
I know. We're like attached to that. We need to do another lunch again.
I know.
Right?
Well, we'll set that
lunch.
up. Yeah.
I was going to say quickly as well, like, I mean, you should really be, proud of yourself as well for like holding space so that people's stories and experiences can be shared. Yeah. And that for people to gain these valuable insights and stuff, like I know it takes a lot of energy. In a past life, I've done a podcast as well. And so, it can be very challenging. You're busy with all your clients and your family and your commitments. And, I think this is great. And hopefully people can really learn from the stories and, not find themselves being in the same situation. So yeah, definitely we're glad to be on here. And maybe the next one will be after we have 10 properties, right? And now with all the knowledge we've learned, right? Exactly. But we are very grateful and definitely indebted to you for, what you've done for us. And yeah, we're so grateful that we met.
Oh, thanks. I love you guys. I'm giving you hugs from all the way over here. All right. Well, you guys have a great day. Go, I know your boys are home.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Take care, Dee.
Okay.
Thanks for having us on.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.